Welcome back, everybody, here to another episode of Gregtech Community Edition Modern. Started up here on the roof because that's where most of our activity is going to be at, despite the fact that I realize we're actually going to have to go downstairs for some stuff, as I've not put one of my things to access the system yet up top here. But I do have a bunch of things figured out. I found out what it's called. So even though you search for facade, it doesn't show you anything but Gregtech. So we've got coil block covers, like it's just showing you Gregtech covers, which is not helpful. What you do need is you need these cable facades, wall anchors, which again doesn't show you the recipe. You need wall anchors. Is that not even going to show up? In core. You need these, cable anchors. You take a steel plate through a bolt mold to get your cable anchors, and then you craft whatever block you want. Basically right in the center, your cable anchors, top, bottom, left, right. Top, bottom, and left and right, and that will give you the facade to be able to hang up on your cables. So we've now basically got a mixture of the facade as well as the regular covers for the pipes, which is kind of silly because you look at the backside and you notice a stark difference with that. I did move a bunch of our machines up top to get ready for some auto crafting, and I think there is only a few more machines I kind of need to get done with that. However, I needed to wait until I got back with you guys because I realized I can't do any auto crafting right now as we are missing some major components for that. I forgot we needed ourselves a crafting unit to make a crafting processor. So I got the stuff together to make at least one of those for now. And then we've got to make this molecular assembler, which right now we are missing the stuff for an HV conveyor module, which I did whip up that stuff, as otherwise it'd take a while because you need gold cables, you need these electric motors, and those require silver cables, electrum wire, both of those are ×2, and then we need the stainless steel rods, the magnetic rods, and another stainless steel rod. So let's go ahead. Oop, I guess I forgot to craft that. Let's go back right there. Oh, I guess that's right. We got the components in to craft that, and I can stuff it back in the system, make our conveyor module, and then we can make our molecular assembler. So this is what lets us do the actual crafting grid stuff. So now if we take that and we go ahead and slap that on down here. Actually, we want one other thing. Where is our canner? We need our canner here. We have to a couple batteries to get into an MV battery assembly at some point here soon, but we are looking for our 1K storage components. I'm thinking I want to immediately upgrade this to a 3K version, so we're going to get a RAM and we're going to get an MV circuit to upgrade that. I don't know if I have any HV circuits to be able to upgrade that anymore. HV, MV. Just look up circuits then. Sir. Alright, why does this want to fight me here? I know we have some. I guess they're microprocessors. So we do have one, so we could go all the way to HV. I do think we will do that, so we'll grab 1, 2, 3 of those out, and we'll grab one of those. Just so we can get a nice large buffer to be able to make... Actually, I don't even think we can do that. I think because... No, we can do that. We can do both. So I do need a RAM chip, and then I need a ultra low power chip. So we do have RAM chips somewhere here, maybe over in the other chest. We got our RAM chips. So we need 1, 2, 3 of those. And then our power chip. I put those somewhere. Where did I? put those at? Did I move them? That's IC chip. I don't think I made a ton of other stuff with those, but maybe I did. Do you have any silicone wafers I could use? We do have some of those. And I can't remember if it's the emerald. Emerald is RAM. Sapphire is that one. So that's what we're looking for. Let's go around our sapphire. We'll let those laser engrave, since I forgot those. Grab out our 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and 3. It'll give us all we need. We can... Oh, that's upstairs. Let's put our thing there. So that's going to take 45 seconds. So we'll come up here. We'll use this one. We'll just shut down the auto eject. Get our RAM. That and our microprocessors in there, and that will make us our 4K storage component. And then to make our 16K storage component, we'll have to do the HV with that other type of chip. So it looks like the first one completed. Kind of want to get going on it, but we do also want to give it just a second so that we're not resetting that recipe. I am probably out of stainless steel, as I've wired up 2 more gas turbines. And unless we get this upgraded, it's going to be a lot of running around to get all this stuff done. But we can dump that away in there, so we don't need that anymore. And when we come back up here, we'll notice we have 3 of those ready. So now that, with an HV circuit, drop back down to get ready and dump that in our sawmill. That also takes 45 seconds, so that's going to be a second. In the meantime, one of the other things I was getting ready to put together, I just got to pull out my hammer for. As exploring has become extremely tiresome. So I think it's high time I finally make a glider, especially since I can now make all the way to the advanced glider. So now we want 2 more. Oh, I didn't realize I'm missing some leather, so we're gonna have to get that before we do the advanced glider. Is there a recipe for leather? No, not really. Making the first one will give us some, I guess. So let's make the first one. So making that first glider goes on just like that. How much leather do we get from that glider? All the way back here. We get 8 more, so we can make 1 more of those, which is good, as that's all that we need to make the second tier. Now if we take that, the second tier requires the vanadium steel that we've prepped up a bunch of previously, so we can just go ahead and grab that on out now, which also finishes an upgrade. I don't know if we have a quest to do an upgrade of it. Doesn't look like it. But either way, I think it's a very important upgrade, as that is something we do want when exploring. I do want to not use it until we get it enchanted, as it can be enchanted with, pretty sure, unbreaking, yeah. Oh, it can be enchanted with mending, which would be nice too. Though I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. Voltage tier, oh, you know, forgot that I got to bring this down to our MV tier to actually get that one going, so bring it down here, 1, 2, and 3. And put those power chips away. Wondering if I put it in a backpack. No, I didn't put it in a backpack. We got our 16K storage component. Now if we take that and put this together in the canner, we'll get our 16K crafting component. And from what I understand, looking at this, let's look at it really quick. So the crafting component, so you got the crafting storages are available in all standard sizes. They store ingredients and intermediate ingredients involved in a craft. So larger or more storages are required for CPUs to handle crafting jobs with more ingredients. And so that's one of the big things, is that to make sure that we have enough to store a full thing, we do want the larger unit. I could always have made a bunch of smaller ones, but I figured let's make one big one now so we don't have to think about it in the future. So now if we put that there, we can then put a molecular assembler on the side of it, and we can actually put in patterns into the molecular... Actually, what am I doing? Molecular assembler goes somewhere completely different. So we're actually... This is not going to... I think we are going to put this back here in the back corner, whereas this one, I want to drop it on over here somewhere. So I want the drive base to come here. So let's look at putting ourselves some more cable down, which I know I got more cable in here. But we will need more pattern stuff for this one. That's what it was. So if we come around... yeah, we'll just go up and around. So we'll go 1, 2, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And we'll start it over here. We'll put the molecular assembler there. And we can put a single crafting thing in here. Which I think for now, what I do want to do is we're going to put in a single pattern. So you don't have to worry about it. And then we can grab ourselves... So it does have to be a already assembled pattern. So what we wanted to do is the copper nickel wire. So we're going to go ahead and put that back up there. The outcome is that. And what do we need for the crafting recipe? We just need 2. Oh. 2 of them, just like that. So that will encode. We gotta do it in the crafting bench, actually, for now. We can change this pattern later, once we get our packager having a pattern provider online. But that's gonna take a second, as I would like to have that there. And now with all of these components together, we can actually go ahead and say, let's make sure everything's in here. Last ones that I'm like worried about are these 2. So that is there. Now we just want to make sure we need MV covers, conveyor modules, to be able to make this. And so now let's go ahead and do a conveyor module. Let's tell it to craft 1. We're missing copper nickel wires times 4. Does it not understand that that's how you make it over here? I guess it doesn't understand that that's how you make the copper nickel wire, so we are going to have to figure out what we can do about that. I know one thing I can do in the meantime is I can actually put a 2 in here, and I can tell it to make it in there. So let's look at that really quick. Copper nickel wire. Times 2 can be done in a... Oh, no, in a wire mill it must be done. So I guess that's not going to cut it for now. So we'll just have to manually make that. We can leave that in there, and it will automatically make that if we tell it to make a bunch. So to make 1, we're going to need it to be able to craft... what? An additional... 2, 4, 6. So 6 wires would be 1 more, plus another 8. So we got 14 we gotta do. So that should be able to do all of that. And let us start that. So now, as you'll see, this is going to process through, schedules it out. It says it's going to take about 2 minutes or 22 seconds to complete the whole task. I did make ourselves a little basic alloy furnace over here to be able to smelt up the copper nickel. And then we just got to wait for the wires to come on out. And then this is kind of the idea of the molecular assembler. So I put 2 in, it has it 1 come out. And so there is that. I wonder if because there's no pattern to it, it doesn't understand how to put it back into the system is what's going on. So pull those out. We'll let the molecular assembler do its job for just a second. Oh, yeah, that looks like a pain. So we are definitely going to want to get more of these online at some point, as that's going to take some time to get through all of that. But now we can stuff those in there, and we can go back to our conveyor and actually have it auto-craft this time. So it's got everything else. It's able to craft up the rubber to be able to put in there as well. So now we should see as a bunch of our machines start coming online, doing their job. I think most of the components were already made up, so it's just got to assemble them all together. It looks like... So 1 for that one. So yeah, to make sure that this one can do what it needs to, it's got to be set to a 1. So yeah, that was not going to work to begin with. But now that we've got that, we should be able to make ourselves another pattern thing. Down here. Make ourselves another pattern provider. Oh, we're missing crafting benches and another 2 aluminum plates. Aluminum plates. 1, 2. And then crafting benches, which I don't think we have a whole lot of wood left. We don't. We're almost out. And I almost made the wrong thing. That would have been tragic. So this is also probably the last time we're going to have this guy down here, as it's going to move upstairs after this too. Because with the pattern provider, we'll be able to make most of our MV components from then on. So let's put that in there. The crafting tables, our pattern providers can now be made. We get 2 more. Let's make that into the half-block version of it. We can actually set up some recipes here to make a bunch of different stuff now. So now the other thing I really needed to do, as this is kind of the whole point of this, was to change this from a crafting pattern to a processing pattern. So we'll now encode that to a processing pattern, and then we should be able to slap our pattern providers on the back, put some cables in there, and put our pattern in there to make that by putting 2 of those in there. And I believe we also need a 2. Yes. So we need to have a 2 in there so that we'll assemble the 2 of them together. And then this has got, so that's a packer. This has got that in there. We want to be able to make MV pistons. So we are going to go ahead and put in a thing like that. Oh, right there. Not that one. And then let's go grab our... So this is that. We also have to enable input from the back. We will bend out the sheet. Auto output, enable input from back, and then we can tell our pattern provider that we can make the aluminum ingots in there like that. Putting our pattern in. I know this is all like base level stuff, but sometimes it helps making sure that people understand what you've got to actually get through and be able to craft. But now that we've got that, we should be able to make a whole nother set of these things if I go chop some wood down. So let's burrow into this tree and pull out another 2 planks of wood. Don't really want one of those ones. So I think we will just punch the log to get 2 of them. We should be able to make 1 more pattern provider, which will allow us to do crafting recipes over in our molecular assembler. So let's go ahead. Might as well grab 1 more so we can actually make a crafting bench for up here, considering we don't have a console yet. But we will need 3 of those. So I do need to pull out stuff for... I don't think I have any more annihilation cores, so we'll have to either go downstairs or pull this stuff out, which I think I'll just go downstairs to make them really quick. We need... Oh no, we do have 2. So pull those... Yeah, we'll pull those out, because we're going to need them upstairs. But let's grab ourselves 4 of those. And then we need a conveyor. There is a processor ready for that now. And it's that simple. Now that we've got this going up, we can just queue something up, walk away, let it do its process. We can watch it go, which is also, in my opinion, something really cool. And as soon as we get the copper cables covered, it will automatically do its thing there. Making its motors. And then once the motors are made, it'll assemble its conveyor. It is pretty cool to see all of this going once you get it going, because everything becomes just that much easier. And now I can make 2 more pattern providers. We'll put a single one right there, and then another one right on top here. And we'll make sure that also has a connection. As now we can put pattern providers in here, and this one will access this one, and this one will access this one. And if you put another one right here, then this one can also access the one that'll be... These both can access this one. And you basically kind of crisscross pattern back and forth, making sure that a molecular assembler is touching only pattern providers on the sides, and then pattern providers are only touching molecular assemblers, giving yourself a lot more crafting space. Now, as those recipes aren't really needed that much at the moment, we'll be fine. But this will enable us to actually craft machines faster. So one of the reasons I wanted that is I wanted to be able to say, okay, I want to craft up one of these. Now I'm going to have to grab some stuff up and do that myself with a few of the components. But if I look on into our machine down here now, and then I hover over it, we already have the circuits. So I just need the 8 pieces here. So I'll do 8 more of those. And that'll whip up nice and fast. If we do a total of... Let's look at the copper-nickel after that. Copper-nickel. If I do a total of 8 of these, that'll give us what we need for that as well. I can actually click on it, right? Yep. We need the copper-nickel. I do need copper wires. So we're going to need 2 of these. And then once that's done, it'll be able to start that process. We can take those out and double each of those up. We can also grab out our steel while we're waiting. It's interesting, I didn't know we had a pin up here now. So for steel we need 3 to make the tube. So let's go ahead and grab out our... What kind of tube do we need? We need a normal or a large? Normal. And then we need a piston. So we'll need a gear as well. We can start crafting up everything else needed for the piston. So we need the gear. I don't know why I have an extra aluminum plate. I feel like there's a reason, but... Take out the 1 aluminum. What we're coming over here for. So we need to put this in at an 8. We need to go pull out, hopefully, as much poly ethylene as I can. I realize we're empty out of there, so let's go grab ourselves some oxygen. And this is why I want the AE2 system up, because as soon as I get some stuff ready for auto crafting, I can just make sure I have the resources in the off time and be able to just keep spamming out what we actually need in terms of materials. As right now, one of the biggest issues I've got is, okay, I got the base materials ready, but I don't have everything else. So if I take the gear mold, we put the gear mold in there. Oh, that's the big one. We only want the little one. I don't know why that gets me, but it does. And we want to make another extruder so that we can actually have this gear mold sitting inside of an extruder that will then automatically be patterned out as well, as that's something that's going to become crucially important here, to be able to have all of those different machines on some sort of pattern. I need another couple of these. I realized I forgot the pipe. I don't even think I pulled it out, so we'll get there. Dump these away before we go back upstairs so we can quit wasting time. But there is that whipped up. And now we just need to throw our steel in here. With the pipe mold, put that back. And that'll automatically input so we can go back downstairs, put away our press. And we should be able to just grab the extruder out. Oh, forgot because I was going to make the recipe really quick. So we do want this pattern provider. And one thing I did want to check. So if I go in here and I click this, and I click it here, it should, yep, it will automatically put it into the pattern for us. So we don't even actually have to input it the way I was previously. So we can say, let's go in here to make ourselves, the assembler is there, and now we can process and make pistons. So let's look at that. We need a piston. Let's start the process on crafting that. Now I wish I could see the crafting process, but I guess I can if I open up one of these blocks over here. There is a crafting what's it called? Monitor, I think is what it's called. Yeah, crafting monitor. So you just got to get a storage monitor and a crafting unit, and then you make the crafting monitor, which can be placed, and we can place it literally like smack dab in the line there to be able to see what the crafting time is on the item. But there we go. We've now got our second extruder. So the whole reason I wanted this one is now we can set up ourselves another extruder, which I wanted to be about the same distance here. So we're going to go 1, 2 away, 1, 2. It's going to go right there. And that will be the next thing that we wire into our system. And we're definitely going to have to get a bunch more of these, as there are quite a few things that are used in crafting recipes that will be used readily. So you want a small gear mold one, we're going to want a rotor one. Plates, not so much. Foil, actually plates and foil we do want, because that's how you press out your plastics. That's the one thing I kind of realized off screen, is that plastics can only be pressed out using one of these two molds. So extremely important to kind of like find out. But we can take that upstairs because that'll let us make pistons on the ready. And with pistons on the ready, we can make more extruders. We can keep expanding that out and actually have our auto crafting base get up pretty well. Now, the last thing I'm going to have to do, I'm do this off camera because I couldn't find the materials offhand to hurry up and do it before starting, is we're going to make a bat box to put over here, and I'm hoping to be able to put a bat box out, have it power out this way, power a couple machines, and then go into another LV stage so that we have just a little bit, because we are going to want a bat box on this end at some point as well, but probably just powering the single advanced extruder. But the very last thing I was hoping to get into, and why I wanted to get this done, is that I wanted to get stuff for this ready. So we're going to need out our fans. We need steel, which those rotors can be pressed out there. So let's go ahead and get out. I think I actually made everything for it. Let's see. So we got our things there. Should have, I think these are alloyed. No, they are copper. So we're going to have to add those. We'll do 4. We need rods, so we need 2 of those. And this is why you want to make a lot of little ones as well, because for little ones you can kind of queue up a bunch of little different crafting recipes. But there's that. I do have the rings, so we got that. We've got... Those are needed for something, I can't remember what. We've got the rods, and now we just need motors. So let's look up motor, and we need 2 of those. The process start on that. In the meantime, I think I have everything else out, so I just need to look at, we just need the screwdriver and the wire cutters out of our backpack. So let's grab those out. Screwdriver is almost broken somewhere here. Right there. And our wire cutters. Now, I had to get this done because I'll show off in the distance. This is why I wanted to get it done. So I built this pipe to go all the way out to get me some silver, considering HV is going to start using pretty heavy amounts of silver. That was kind of a pain to get done, but I got it done. Either way, it was still one of those things I'm like, I kind of wish I had to do that, but this will help with exploration, considering we have mountains. So many mountains around for no reason. But, I mean, cool landscape, but terrible for trying to scale around and find ores. That's why a jetpack is one of those last things that I really wanted to get going. Once that's done, it takes 10 seconds a piece in an LV, so it should only be 10 seconds total for both of them here. And that will give us our jetpack. Which, with that, that gives us an extreme advancement, considering this will let us travel. Did I just use a... I thought I used a full one. Kind of sucks, but put it in there to charge. Charge it up a little bit. So now if I put that on, how do I enable hover mode? Can I do that? Sweet. We can fly. Oh, and that's right, we don't have any boots. Does it say anything about getting boots? Let's find that out really quick before we go anywhere else. This jetpack enables flight and requires energy. Charge it. Charge it like you would charge a battery, and press H to enable hover. H. So it is that hover of, it's not really hover, it's just fall slowly, which is fine. We don't need more than that right now, but we can turn that off. I wonder if G. So if I don't want to use a jetpack, you can turn it off, which is nice to know. But can't swap it back out there, which is a little bit sad, but at the same time makes it easier to select which backpack we actually want to get stuff out of. So hopefully a lot of these tools will start to become obsolete and we don't need them as much anymore, but knowing Gregtech, that's not going to be a thing. Well, now that we've got that molecular assembler running, we've got all of the other stuff that we need. Auto crafting is going to become a cinch. And because it's going to become a cinch, everything should speed up a little bit more. I'm hoping that with the next episode we can start getting a lot of HV machines up and running. But I'm hoping this area should be fully kitted out with a decent amount of auto crafting. Maybe even start getting some auto crafting recipes set up so that HV objects and components can be made on the fly up here. We'll have to see how that goes. Especially since polyethylene is needed for a lot of the machine things, I'm probably going to want to look at getting that set up first, so that polyethylene's automatically made, distributed, and stacked inside of one of those drawers downstairs. I guess that was the last thing I forgot to show you guys. So I did add not polyethylene, but I added the area down here with a storage bus. Don't remember if I made that on camera, but this now can see everything in here. And because I don't want random stuff in here, I want specific things. I did clog it all with one cobblestone apiece so that I can manually put in what I want, as I was a little lazy and didn't want to make a key, because that key requires you to have an LV piston. And I'm like, I'm going to autocraft that. I don't want that stuff. So needing that specific thing was like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. But we can even look at doing some upgrades for those to be able to store more recipes upstairs at some point. But we are absolutely full, but we were full with tons more silver, which is exciting to see. So let's pop those on in there, and I will see you guys next time when we get actually into HV here. Bye!